Welcome to Fox News. I am Taylor Jensen. Our topic today is causing lots of controversy, especially for a young man, Daniel Martin, who is currently in his senior year and is the star football player at Meylan High. He has just tested positive in a drug test given by school, and him and his parents are fighting his charges in hopes of keeping his full ride to Notre Dame. Joining me today is Gabrielle and Meylan. What is your input on this topic? Do you feel that random drug testing and extracurricular activities should be permitted?
No, absolutely not. I mean, first of all, there have been several studies, and this one study that I'm going to prove to you was from 1998 to 2001, and this study was nationwide, so that didn't just include certain states, nationwide. Okay, this is our whole country that we're talking about here. And the University of Michigan did this study, and it was for 8th, 10th, and 12th graders. So kind of a little variety of students. And it also included 76,000 students. 76,000. Now, if you're asking me, let me tell you, the study proved that drug testing had absolutely no impact on the students. And proving a point, I mean, 76,000 students, that seems like enough to me. The University of Michigan seems pretty credible. And no, absolutely not.
Well understood, Gabrielle, but I do in fact have hard copy evidence where this random drug testing and extracurricular activities has definitely influenced the drug takers. An anonymous poll in a high school was taken before and after this drug testing was initiated in the high school, and they found that drug users decreased in extracurricular activities almost 60%. That is change. That is impact. If that's not, then what is?
60%? Well,
yeah.
That's over 50, so I gotta give you that. But if students were informed before they signed up for an extracurricular activity, do you think that if they were informed that they would actually continue to sign up for that extracurricular activity?
Informed about what?
If they were informed that they could possibly be drug tested, could and maybe would.
Oh, I'm not so sure that would even matter.
You wouldn't know. There's so many people that would not sign up for an extracurricular activity knowing that they could be drug tested.
So you're saying to me that these kids will be scared of a drug test?
Why wouldn't they? They have several reasons to be.
I might be scared myself, actually. Good point.
And I'd also like to point out that the purpose of bringing this up in our government TV show here was to say that in the state it protects individual rights. This topic solely deals with personally each and every player on the team. And it also deals with secure blessings of liberty, which is rights and establishing justice. So yeah. It deals with whether or not it is an individual right that is violated or not. And
those are purposes of government, am I right?
Yeah.
And also, this is a state issue, so this will be ruling whether this is right or wrong in the state of Michigan's court system.
Keep watching to find out. Let me also point out that if a student were to be tested positive, that they would have to be retested again to make sure that that test was not a false positive test. And if 11 students out of the 500 did that, it's a long and grueling process. It's also a very long or expensive process as well. So that would make the school the cost would give the school $35,000 instead of $21,000. And that's only for 11 students. What if all 500 tested positive? There's no way any school district can even begin to afford that. Let me tell you, students are not dumb.
Sure.
There are several ways to get around a urine drug test. Several ways. There is a resource that so many teenagers in America possess. That is the phone. They can have internet access.
Oh, gotta love Google.
They can talk to anybody, Google research anything in the entire world. And because of that resource that so many teenagers have around America, they can find detoxins to detoxinate their body, so when they are receiving a urine drug test, it would turn out to be negative instead of positive. Whether they're just doing Tylenol or whether they're on cocaine, marijuana, alcohol, it doesn't matter. And some of these examples of detoxins could be herbal detoxins, hair follicle shampoo, and other products that are specifically made to beat urine drug test. Now, what is the point in wasting $42 a person on drug testing that could be proved negative when truly they're really positive, or truth positive for those innocent students who are taking Tylenol for their backache? Tell me that. That brings me to my next point. What if a student was to be tested, all right? And let's just say that test turned out to be positive. Now let me tell you, a urine drug test does not have to be, a student does not have to have illegal drugs into their system to pass positive on a drug
I never
test.
thought about this.
It doesn't have to be marijuana, it doesn't have to be cocaine, alcohol, anything, you name it. A simple drug test can be tested positive through an over-the-counter drug. A football player could be taking Tylenol for a backache, for crying out loud, and they're being tested positive and ridiculed and now punished because of that drug test that you were trying to invoke. That's another reason why students will not participate, and that's another reason why students could and should be scared to participate for any extracurricular activity in the school. You know, this brings me something else to think, something that pops up in my mind, which is a core democratic value. And I believe one is being broke or violated, and that is the right to liberty.
Liberty.
And people think liberty can mean several things, but I'm going to give you the exact definition of personal freedom, which is part of liberty. And that is the right to think and to believe, in which the individual is free to act, think, and to believe, in which the government cannot legitimately invade.
Whoa.
Now this would be invading privacy. The students are not aware they were being drug tested on the day. They had no time to prepare. This is invading, this is taking something from their body and testing it for their own use. This has nothing to do with the student. This is not fair, and it's almost the exact type of thing of someone going through your medical records. Who wants anyone knowing that information?
Yeah,
That information
that's
is
true.
personal.
I would be
and that
totally
information-
violated.
That information is personal and does not need to be released to anybody.
Well, I do understand that you thought that was breaking your core democratic value, but I'm also seeing one that's being broken, and is the common good. So I will define common good for you, and is the obligate citizens to promote the welfare of the community and to work together with other members for the better benefit of all. But in this case, if we have a student using drugs, doing an extracurricular activity, especially one like cheerleading, say this guy was in a stunt, high off his brains, out of it, trying to lift another girl, and he totally drops her. She breaks a leg. Is that working together for the greater benefit of all? I don't think so. So we need this drug testing to protect this core democratic value, to protect the students in these sports. It could be dangerous.
You know, in one way I agree with you there.
All right.
Alright, so I'm sure you heard the expression, money doesn't grow on trees. I mean,
Yes, I have.
many people have, you know. Well, let me tell you it doesn't. And it does not grow on trees for school districts.
That's very true.
If you were to do a drug test, for let's say 500 students, okay? A drug test costs $42 a person.
Whoa.
$42 a person. And if you were to do that to 500 students, that equates to $21,000.
After taking all this in, Gabrielle, I have some ideas of my own. As I mentioned before, this random drug testing in school has definitely influenced the amount of kids using drugs. This is for the sole reason that they're scared of these drug tests, like you said before, but they're even more scared of testing positive in these drug tests. How scary is that, getting your whole life taken away from you almost?
Like Daniel Martin is right now.
Exactly.
He might get his whole scholarship taken away because of this stupid drug testing thing that you guys have tried to improve in
No,
school.
this is proving my point. In fact, that people are going to see Daniel Martin, see him get his things taken away from him due to this random drug test, and not want to use drugs.
How many people do you think this will actually affect?
This will affect many. I wouldn't want to use drugs if I saw that my friend, who had a full ride scholarship to a great school in Notre Dame, got it all taken away from him because he used drugs. How stupid is that? So this is definitely scaring several students.
What you're telling me is that I should not use Tylenol for my backache. I should not use over-the-counter drugs.
I'm saying illegal drugs, Gabrielle, and you know it. Also, I don't know if you've heard, but I've definitely heard that peer pressure is one of the biggest parts of high school. It's everywhere we see. Everywhere you see it, it's peer pressure. And I don't know about what you think, but I'd say that there has to be a lot of peer pressure involved with this incident. So if students hear that there's random drug testing, don't you think they'll try to pressure their teammates into not doing drugs due to the fact that they could be put on the line and have this star player be cut from their team because they get tested and they're positive for drugs, they're done. That is crucial to the success of the team, to make sure that nobody's doing drugs, because you can get star athletes cut out of your team, and that's definitely not a good thing. So peer pressure is one of the biggest parts that will help eliminate drug use. And drug testing, random drug testing and extracurricular activities, I deem it as good.
I have to agree with you there, Taylor. I mean, there
Thanks, Gabrielle.
are two sides and there are two views on this, and you're just giving some of yours. But I'd also like to bring to attention the Fourth Amendment, if you don't mind.
Whoa.
And for those of you who are watching and don't know what that is the Fourth Amendment prohibits unreasonable searches and random drug testing. Oh, we're just going to do a random drug test. I have no reason to search you for this. I have no reason to test you for this. I mean, you're just showing up to practice and you're just playing the sport, but I'm going to test you anyway. They have absolutely no proof or any reason to give a drug test to these students. They don't know whether they're not falling over and passing out.
So are you saying you deem these as unreasonable tests?
I do. They are
I'd have to agree.
unreasonable searches. They have no proof, they have no evidence, they have no reason to test these students.
Okay, Gabrielle, good point. I have a very big point right here, Gabrielle. High school is a place where many kids try out drugs. I don't agree with this, but they do, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I have to say it's a critical age.
You also agree that there's a difference between trying out drugs and having a drug addiction?
Yes, there's a difference.
So, if we can stop these students from in their phase of trying drugs by using these drug tests, because most students, when they have this drug test and gets positive, they will probably be in lots of programs to stop their drug use. But if we didn't have this drug test and we didn't stop some of these students, they would have addictions in their life. We could be saving lives here almost, Gabriella.
Okay, well, not everyone, let me point out, that not everyone who does try drugs and not everyone who tries marijuana or whatever drug they choose to do. I know several people of a personal experience who have tried it and have absolutely hated it and have not done it.
Hated drugs.
That point cannot be used on every single student. It's true for some, but not for all.
All right, I hear you there, Gabriella. Adding to this, wouldn't you agree that an illegal drug is steroids? And wouldn't you agree that many students would want to use steroids to make themselves better at sports? Well, how is this fair? Many high schools in this nation are competing in high-level sports competitions, because that's an extracurricular activity. They're competing in high-level sports competitions, and how is this fair that a kid on steroids is at the baseball game hitting several homers because he's on steroids? We need to stop this. We need a way of stopping this, and the way of stopping this is random drug testing in schools. Finally, for my biggest piece of evidence, I researched this, Gabrielle, so I was ready for this debate. And there was a court case a couple of years ago about an angry parent who was pressing charges against the school from allowing kids to be on drugs during these extracurricular activities because their kid got hurt due to another intoxicated kid. Yeah. So this is like safety in the public schools. And don't you think that drug testing would definitely prohibit a lot of that drug use and in sports? Well, I think that I do, and this court case definitely is a good example on my. This is my fifth and final reason why I think random drug testing, should be permitted in extracurricular activities. So, allowing this drug testing will ensure that drug taking has been put far from the cultural norm, actually, because most of these students will fear being caught. So, how is this cool, being caught and possibly being in, like, what's that word again? Rehab? Oh, yeah. So that can't be cool. It will put this drug taking far away from the cultural norm. And I am sure of that, Gabrielle, because
I'm sure you are.
Who says that's cool? It will reduce drug taking, therefore making schools better. I also do have two visuals that shows both sides. These are really interesting to look at, so check these out for 5 seconds to 10 seconds. And I think it'll give you a better idea about what we're both trying to tell you here. Well, this has been a very good debate, and there are two major sides to this story, and I believe we've covered both sides very well. So we will leave this decision to you. Leave your comments and what you think. Do you think Daniel Daniel Martin should have been drug tested randomly in his extracurricular activity, or do you think it goes against his individual rights?